Fellow Americans, Rudyard Kipling wrote, "If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait without being tired of waiting, or be lied about, don't deal in lies, or be hated, don't give way to hating, nor look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings and keep the common touch, if neither loving friend nor foe can hurt you, all men count with you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, then yours is the earth and everything in it. And what's more, you'll be a man, my son." Now that is 2 out of the 4 stanzas of the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. If you'd like to hear all 4 stanzas in a 15 to 17 minute speech, you're welcome to come over to my house tonight where I can recite it in full. My wife heard me practicing this speech, and she told me that she had had to memorize it in the 7th grade. Imagine that once upon a time in this country, we used to teach reading, writing, arithmetic, and character through memorization. And I asked her what she thought of the last line about becoming a man. She said, "Eric, in today's day and age, you can be offended by just about anything, or you can embrace wisdom wherever you can find it. And besides," she said, "everybody knows that the second definition of man includes both males and females of the human race." "Good answer," I said. "I'm going to use that." So I came across a statistic recently that was a little bit upsetting. According to the Nielsen's rating agency, the average American spends 10 hours a day on digital media. 10 hours a day. Now, if you figure that you're sleeping 8 hours a day, that only gives you 6 hours in order to eat, go to the bathroom, go to work, and pay your taxes. Hardly seems enough time to pay your taxes. And just as bad as the quantity of toxicity that we're putting in is the quality. It's a constant stream of sex, drugs, violence, and atheism. Let's look at some of that. Sex. According to the Nielsen's rating agency, the average American teenage girl sees 142 acts of sex each week, 80% of them not between a husband and a wife in the digital media stream. Now, if you doubt that statistic, go take a look at some of these MTV music videos. And what is the net result? The net result is the average American teenage girl is 4 to 7 times more likely to get pregnant than the teenagers in other industrialized countries. Now, all that sex might sound great if you're a teenage boy, but it's absolutely horrifying if you're the father of a teenage girl trying to prevent your daughter from being knocked up by one of these testosterone poisoned man cubs. Drugs. We currently lose about 69,000 Americans every year to drug overdoses, and that number keeps rising. Now, we have shut down our entire country for the coronavirus when we've had about a similar number of deaths, which shows what we're capable of as a society if we made the war on drugs an actual priority. Sex, drugs, violence. You open up the newspaper once every couple months, and what do you see? Another school massacre. Now, you might say that just because the media shows violence all over the place and there's plenty of violent video games, that doesn't mean everyone's going to go off and commit violence. And for the most part, you're right. But our advertisers spend billions and billions of dollars every year to show celebrities doing certain things because they know that a certain portion of the suggestible public will go out and do those exact same things. And atheism. You can't even look at movies nowadays and see anyone with religious devotion that isn't portrayed as a possible pedophile, potential terrorist, or just a religious zealot. Now, our churches were struggling even before the coronavirus, and now they're on their knees praying for existence. Our founding fathers knew that there is a close correlation between religion and public morality. And if you weaken one, you weaken the other. So what's the answer? Well, theoretically, the answer is simple. turn it off and go do something more wholesome. But practically, that's very difficult. We're all addicted to public entertainment. It's tough to turn it off. I, for one, happen to like R-rated movies. I like the gratuitous violence and the scantily clad women. Sorry, ladies. But I know that if I keep pumping that toxicity into my brain, at one point it will overcome my wholesome family values. And I will be tempted to play Russian roulette with my life with potentially tragic consequences for myself and my loved ones. So turn it off and do something more wholesome. Go outside, play a game, break out one of those games we used to play. They're now gathering dust in the cupboard: Monopoly, checkers. Read a book, play an instrument. Recently I said to my son, turn off the TV, we're gonna go out on a bike ride. And he said, Dad, why are you punishing me? I said, first of all, being with your dad is not a punishment, or at least it shouldn't be. So we headed on out into the garage, and lo and behold, the tires of our bike were flat. So I said, go ahead and get the bike pump, and we'll pump it up together. You would have thought that I had told them that we were going on an Arctic expedition and that I expected him to harness the dog sleds. So don't expect to be loved if you tell your children to turn off the TV. You might be hated, but don't resort to hate. And if you drag your kids to church on Sunday, you might be lied about, but don't resort to lies. Because if you persevere in these wholesome family values, someday you and your family might be able to walk with kings. Someday you too might be able to keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. So embrace your loved ones. Embrace those wholesome family values. For ultimately, we are the drivers of our destiny. We are the captains of our character. We are the stewards of our souls. Fellow Americans.